Hello Internet and welcome to Historical Headlines for the 14th of December. Russia kicks France out of the house. We are, of course, during the Napoleonic Wars. We are, more specifically, in 1812, where the French army on this day finally staggered out of Russia following the retreat from Moscow in what has become known as one of the most disastrous retreats any army has ever performed from a otherwise occupied country. And to talk us through this momentous occasion, we go to our on-field time-traveling reporter, Tim Sageson. Tim.
Yes, thank you, studio. We are here at the border between Russia and the Duchy of Warsaw, where the pitiful remnants of the once great Grand Army is struggling out of the Russian cold and into the safety of their Allied-held territories. Covered by a almost suicidally heroic rearguard of down to less than 300 men under Marshal Michel Ney, the French are trying to avoid the circling trap that the Russian imperial armies, now under Marshal Kutusov, is trying to weave around them to capture even the last of Napoleon's fighting force. You will remember how 6 months ago Napoleon was in fine form, invading Russia at the head of the greatest army ever formed, almost 700,000 men and the most diverse European army since the days of the Crusades, consisting of troops from France and all of its allies and dominions, Denmark and Norway, Austria and Prussia, Holland and the Confederacy of the Rhine. All of Napoleon's forces were there as they marched upon Moscow. Unfortunately, as it will be remembered, the Russians refused to have a fight. There was a scrap at Borodino which was very bloody, but even then the Russians would not allow themselves to be destroyed, but kept retreating, burning everything before them. Napoleon, who had expected to live up the land, eventually reached and conquered Moscow, but the Russians had already burned the city to the ground and retreated further. Napoleon stayed in Moscow for some time until finally he realized that peace was not forthcoming from the Russian Tsar, and he decided to retreat back to a place where he could forage during the winter. Unfortunately, the winter this year had been incredibly powerful, and what battle and bullets could not do, the winter has done for Mother Russia. Out of almost 700,000 troops, the French has retreated back into Poland with less than possibly 100,000 scattered along a wide front. This could be considered the greatest disaster ever in military history, and it is doubtful what this will do to Napoleon's prestige and position in Europe. But I see now, yes, I see now. Here is our interview for the day. The French Chasseur General Calvert is coming out of the howling winds and snow. And General Calvert, how do you feel now that you finally have what remains of the Grande Armée out of the Russian wilderness?
Well, I feel good. We can now rest and recuperate, get some more troops together, and get ready for a spring campaign I am sure will bring us final victory.
But, General Calvert, you have lost almost 600,000 troops from the weather and from the Russians. How can this be seen as anything but a crushing defeat for France, which must have dire consequences for the future of the Empire?
I do not think so. The Russians did not win in the correct fashion. They did not win with martial glory. They in fact just stood back and let us walk all over their country. Now we have walked back, and if we have lost troops, so what? They have proven that they cannot stand against victorious Frenchmen.
But, General Calvert, you did lose 600,000 men and was forced out of the invasion and back into central Germany, right? I cannot see how this could in any way be construed as a victory. What will you do if the Russians decide to invade the Duchy of Warsaw, even invade Prussia, your ally?
The Emperor will have it well in hand. I mean, we lost some men, yes, but a lot of them were also from our allies. The mothers of France can easily replace this in a short while, and there are plenty of guns in the depots. The Emperor will soon have a solution, I am sure. It has been a terrible retreat. I am certain we will soon have the situation well in hand. I mean, what are they going to do, our allies? The Prussians or the Austrians? Turn against us and form yet another coalition? Ho 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 ho! We have smashed coalitions with ease. We shall smash another one. Now I need to get back to my men and get them some heated, so I don't lose any more of them to frostbite.
Well, that was an unsurprisingly French response from General Calvert to the current situation. But despite his assurances, I truly believe that we have seen a powerful moment in history right here, right now, as the Russians kicked the French out of their house and forced them back into central Germany. Back to the studio.
The French attack on Russia in 1812, and particularly the retreat in the latter part of the year, has of course gone down in military history as one of the great blunders of the time. Despite the general interviewed and his confidence, what was mentioned was in fact exactly what happened. Napoleon's prestige and sense of invincibility took a powerful blow, and Austria and Prussia, two of the great powers of Europe that had previously been forced into an alliance with him almost as subjugated nations, immediately turned against him, allied with Russia and England, who had never stopped fighting with him, and immediately created the Sixth Coalition that finally destroyed Napoleon's empire. It is of course worth noticing that Napoleon and the Russians had in fact been allied for almost 7 years at this point, united in their general hatred towards the British, but finally Napoleon could no longer allow the Tsar to still trade with the British, since that was in contradiction to his attempts to destroy the British by his continental system of not allowing any trade goods to go in and out of the British Isles from the continent. So, the invasion of Russia happened. Russians, with a few minor setbacks, followed scorched earth tactics, and eventually Napoleon was forced to retreat back into Central Europe with, as I mentioned, less than 100,000 men out of his 700,000 strong invasion force remaining either alive and uncaptured. This then led to 2 years of defensive warfare with inferior troops against ever increasing powerful enemy forces from the Eastern coalition partners, and of course from the British and Spanish forces that expelled Napoleon's best troops now from the peninsula and attacked up through southern France, leading to Napoleon's first abdication in early 1814. So yes, a momentous moment in history when Napoleon's forces were finally struggling out of Russia following the disastrous retreat from Moscow. On this day, the 14th of December, Russia kicks France out of the renters agreement and out of the house. I will be back on Monday with another historical headline. Until then, I have been the Sage, and I wish you all a very happy day.